This is VP4 TV. Here is a list of scheduled upcoming matches in this year's VP4 2022 World 10 Ball Championship. I will try and stream as many as I possibly can, although time zone differences will be an issue. I must thank those players who take this into consideration when arranging their matches. Please subscribe to my YouTube and Twitch channels to join in the stream chat.
Well, good evening. Welcome back to VP4 TV, and we're back for another match in this year's VP4 2022 10 Ball World Championships. And I've apologised to Powerslam, who's from the UK and not from the USA, as I seem to have thought. He's from Barnsley in the UK. Zecarioca is from Brazil. And
VP4 Online Discord.
Good evening to Steve. This match will be going ahead at the top of the hour, and Steve has joined. In fact, Steve's the only one here. Nobody else is here.
Cobra 4. Queen is dead.
Yeah, that was what I was going to get to. Earlier on in the stream, earlier on this afternoon, we heard that the family had been called up to Balmoral, so they all went up from London, and they don't call the family in unless the doctors know that things aren't looking good. And I don't know exactly what time, but the Queen has passed away. We'll have a funeral, in which case there'll be every man and his dog coming over to it from all around the world. And also we will have a new king, King Charles, and there'll be a coronation for that, which none of us have seen in our lifetime, but it's going to happen. I've got my opinions about the royal family and them in general. I'll keep them to myself out of respect, but I'm sure there'll be loads of wailing outside of Buckingham Palace at people who can't afford to go to Buckingham Palace and stand in the rain, but they'll do it. But that's it. We'll leave it at that. Good evening to Steve. Wait a minute, I'll come back in. Hang on.
Bill Glennon. Hi.
Right. Hello, Steve. I don't hear him.
Cobra 4. I am a Republican but still sad.
Well, I mean, I'm a Scot. That's a different thing from a Republican as far as an Englishman's concerned. I'm a nationalist. But as I say, let's leave all that behind. We're going to have days of it. You're going to have days to put up with this. So anyway, the match is good. I don't know what the hell's happened to Steve. In fact, he never planned to be here for any of these matches. So he's trying to plug his headset in, or he's gone for a coffee. I don't know what he's doing. So I'll stay in Discord and wait until he eventually gets things working. I haven't a clue how Powerslam plays. I have no idea. So we'll just get an idea of that once we watch it. So this is it a second round match? Or is it one of the last of the first round matches? I've totally forgotten. It's one of the last of the first round matches. Race to 17, and we're about probably nearer 2 minutes away from the room going up.
Steve Fook 1158. Evening all.
Good evening to Mark. So I switched on the iPlayer, and of course there's the royal correspondent, what's his name, Nick Witchell, gushing out all the stuff, saying all the right things. 5 minutes of that was enough for me, I'm afraid. So I've switched all of that stuff off. But they're probably, to be honest with you, I think they're more popular in other countries than they are over here. Certainly in Scotland, that's the case. But
Cobra 4.
You've got them that love them over here as well.
LOL.
They've got them. You've got them over here that love them, who've got no more bloody sense. You know, there's all these. So this is me starting to go on a rant. I don't want to, out of respect, out of pure respect. I don't want to do it, but I could rant for hours about how this country's run and how there's them. It's the same in loads of countries, by the way. It doesn't have to be a royal family. You've got various forms of dictatorships going on in the world where they've all got their hand in the pot.
Steve Hook 1158.
Yeah, let's leave it alone.
No doubt you'll enjoy the day off, though.
Well, we won't get a day off. You kidding? It's 2022, Mark. 2022. People still have to live. People still have to get their shopping, regardless of who's died. This is the modern era. It's a different kettle of fish now. And the other thing is, shareholders have got to keep their pockets lined as well.
Steve 1158. BFS.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what the point was of getting into Discord, because Steve is totally silent. Maybe he's rabbiting away there thinking he's talking 10 to the dozen and I can hear him because I can't hear a word. And he said nothing else in the stream, so I don't know what he's done. He's probably gone for a coffee. But anyway, it's time that we got in the room.
Steve Hook 1158. Is the room up?
Yeah, we are in the room and we're lagging for break. Well, that's an awful lag on the left-hand side, whoever that is. That is the worst lag I've ever seen. I mean, that's barely a foot and a half from the top rail. And I can see Powerslam hasn't practiced his lag because he's lost it with that lag. In fact, that lag deserved one of these, if I can remember it. Is it this one? Yes, it's that one. Now, only Mark will know who that is, because when I asked earlier this afternoon, nobody knew who it was. They're all thinking it's Homer Simpson, but it's certainly not that. But Mark, you'll know. Oh, Steve's finally awake.
Steve Hook 1158.
We're officially in mourning here. At least some of them are. I'm not, but that's another story.
Yeah, well, I mean, here too, the U.S. A lot of people really like the royal family. Big news here.
Yeah, they gush over them. Yeah. But then again, see, Americans like winners and like them that have, you know what I mean. The Americans like a winner, and they like them that are up there amongst the winners. And the royal family's exactly that. That's why they love them. But as I say, I don't want to go off on a rant because I'm going to offend somebody that's watching. So I'm going to keep my mouth well and truly closed. Anyway,
is that possible?
Oh yes, yes. Did you give me a name there, Mark? No, you haven't. Mark's gone
Steve
silent.
1158. BFS.
I'm glad you've stopped going on about it.
Well, it's something to do with bull and something to do with shit in plain speaking. The rest of it you can work out yourself.
Yeah, I got that now. Okay, I figured it out.
Well, I didn't think you were going to be around, Steve. You never planned to be here.
Well, I've been pretty busy, but I decided to pop in because I was interested in seeing how this Powerslam is going to play.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody knows him. Looks like he way overran this shot and is going to shoot a bank. Now, if you're smart here, you play safe too. You leave the cue ball on the rail and you shoot at a speed that if you miss, you got the snooker. And he may have tried that and just hit it too hard, or he may not have tried that, but that was a perfect situation to play a two-way shot.
Do you know, Mark, do you still not know who the guy is in that black and white picture that I showed you? I'm surprised you don't. I'm very surprised.
Steve Hook 1158. Nope.
You don't know him? Oh well. I see, that's why I'm so sad, and I know a lot of old characters, but Steve will know who this is. I'll show Steve, he'll know who it is.
Steve
I saw the
1158.
picture you had up.
Not as
I
old as UK.
recognize the guy, but I don't know who it is. I mean, I've seen him before.
Well, it's James Finlayson, born in 1887, and you watch if you watch a good number of that's the wrong screen. Hang on a minute. If you watch a good number of the Laurel and Hardy films, you'll see James Finlayson in it.
Oh yeah, well, I watched a lot of Laurel and Hardy.
He died in '56, I think it was. But he's the one that coined the Homer Simpson "Oh," that thing.
Oh,
I think that's where they copied it from.
You know, these guys are both making a mess of this game.
Oh well, you never watched this afternoon, Steve. It was just as messy. But actually, I called Shibo as the favourite. That Jose would make a lot more mistakes than him. And in the actual fact, the problem with Shibo is he's totally one-dimensional. He just wants to try and pot everything. And he ended up giving Jose far too many opportunities. And Jose needed more than one opportunity a lot of the times to win racks. And in the end, he won out. He fell over the line, though. His bottle was beginning to go near the end, but he got there. So that's a wee bit of a surprise to me. As I say, like you, I've never seen this Powerslam chap, who I thought was from the States for some strange reason, but he's from Barnsley, England. So I got the right flag for him.
Well, he better start playing better, because that was not a good first rock for him. I mean, neither for Zecarioca, but I know Zecarioca is going to start playing better than that.
Now, has Powerslam actually purchased a break cue? Because that didn't look like a break shot. What he's just played there, it looked really soft.
Well, if you're going to play in a 10-ball World Championship, you really need to have a break cue, because, that's just a huge disadvantage. Although right now, I think he's got more things to worry about, like
M_C_A_C_I_N_I_E_92.
Hello, machine.
Hello again.
Yeah, and that's a pretty aggressive play there, Lauren. He had easy safeties to shoot at that. Didn't really make sense, but I haven't seen Zecarioca play that much. Does he usually play that loose, or is...
Yes, and probably play more looser once he's assessed the level his opponent's at.
Oh, I thought you said once he gets the mixture right. That's a common thing, both in VP and in real life. You got to get that mixture just tuned just right.
Oh, I don't think he's made it. Nope, no. He hasn't.
This is a pretty easy masse, though. As far as masses go, it's about a half a ball. Boy, yeah, he hit that so hard it didn't have a chance to turn. And I think his butt angle is a little too low too. Get a little more butt angle and a little easier.
Well, loads of places to hide here. This cue ball. He's going the other way.
I think he got most of it. Let's see. There could be an interesting play here. Yeah.
Well, if you play this soft, you're simply going to come around behind the 5 and leave the 2 past the 6. Are you not?
Well,
he's calling. What's he calling here?
He's kicking at this ball, and I think this is a good play, because at that speed, the cue ball is going to go over behind the 9 if he hits it right. Well, he didn't hit it right. That's a sellout there.
Well, I think this is really the first time that I can see Powerslam at the table where he's got a shot to start him off, and then we can sort of work out whether he knows where he's going.
No, it's Zecarioca's Brazil, huh?
Yeah.
Well, that's you know, that looks like me playing VP with that shot.
Yeah, I think Power Slam's going to be way short of the mark.
Well, just like real life, you got to get to the point where you can pop balls. And when you get to the point where making the ball sort of the afterthought and the focus is on the cue ball, that's when you can get good. Most players never get to that level in real life, but because it takes a long time. I mean, you got all the talent in the world and you play 60 hours a week, you know, you might get to that point in 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just takes a tremendous amount of time.
I think he might have overcooked that as well. Let's have a look. Well, he's got room to get there to chip it in.
Yeah, he can just kick this ball. He's going the long railway, which that's a little tougher. I mean, pocketing the ball is easier as far as the angle, but that long rail kick, it's harder to be accurate.
Power Slam must be relatively new to any form of virtual pool, I would imagine. I don't know whether he's said whether he's been around for a while or not. I've missed anything like that in the chat previously. If he said anything.
It's good to get some new guys in, and it's good experience to play on one of these.
Well, exactly. So they know what level you have to be getting to be competitive.
I had a friend I took to Derby, and he was a pretty good player. I mean, he's definitely an A player, and he just never played any really strong players. So we went in the practice room,
a 200 break in English
Dennis
billiards.
Acoilio was in there, and I said, "Hey, Dennis, you want to play my buddy some cheap races for $50?" Dennis is like, "Sure." So
99.
my buddy got up and played great
life.
against Dennis, and they're playing races the 7-10 ball. He lost 7-3, 7-2, and he played fantastic and lost like that. And that's it. You get the eye opening when you play a guy that's really high speed. And I think for a guy like Power Slam, he's going to get to play some good players in here, and it's good for him because he's going to learn, what it's like. And I know everybody watches the stream, but the stream, it's not the same when you're watching when you're playing. You know what I mean, Hugh?
Mm-hmm.
When you're at the table with a guy and you're watching him, it just seems different than when you're just a spectator.
Well, Napnicker says that he's claiming that he's got a 200 run in English billiards. I think that's debatable.
Well, then I can't wait to see him kick because if he can play billiards, he ought to be great at kicking.
Yeah, I would like to see him on a 12-foot snooker table. I mean, you obviously bring what you know in real life to VP4, and you can tell what players have done that and do that, and then you can tell other players that are quite short of the mark.
Well, it's a big transition into VP. I mean, there's two things you got to get. One is the visual, because the visual of a 2D surface, 3D and 2D on a 2D flat screen is not the same. So you've got to get used to that. And then the other part of it is just, speed control and things like that. Mm-hmm. Learning to play the table and, the cue ball and all that isn't really the big issue, I don't think, with VP. You hear players go, well, this is different, this is different. Well, you know what? In real life, you go table to table, balls to balls. Yeah. They're all different anyways.
Yeah, you've got to adapt.
You've got to be able to adjust. But I think the parts of VP, I think the visual is the hardest. And then, you've got to figure out how to get speed control with the mouse, which I think the advice that we got before about getting an 800 DPI mouse, or if you got a fancy mouse, put in 800 DPI mode and then go into 100 on the shooting sensitivity is a good setup, because I played with that a little and it works pretty good. I might start playing some VP.
I'm absolutely nowhere near those settings. Nowhere
I
near
tried
it.
them. It was, well, can you set your mouse to 800 DPI?
Well, my mouse, I mean, most of my cheap mice are all 800 anyway. They don't have any variable buttons or anything like that on them. Look at my settings: shooting 9, rotation 9, rotate slew 55.
There's no way your mouse is 800 DPI if you're using shooting 9.
Yes,
I
it
mean,
is.
you'd have to be moving your whole arm back and forth, like, maybe breaking the speed of sound.
Yes, it is, I can assure you. And it's the same for all my mice. I don't change the settings in VP4. I just swap mice over.
I find that hard to believe. I'm going to try those settings because my mouse I can set to, I can set the DPI, so I know what it is.
Yeah, but
And I don't think it'll even be playable at those settings.
Well, I'll tell you why it is, Steve, and I'll tell you why you'll notice a difference as well. See if you go into settings. Now, this is your game, so you should know anyway, but if you go to settings in mouse, I can tell you straight away that if I go to advanced settings, I've got it on velocity average, right, to play it at 9 for shooting and 9 for rotation. But if I put it up to accelerated best fit, then I'm in trouble, because then the cue stick is going through too quick and it's accelerating and hitting the ball faster than I want, so I have to have it in velocity average. So when you're changing your mouse settings and moving them up and down, you've also got to take into consideration whether you're going to change that velocity setting, because that is very important and it makes a huge difference in how the cue goes through and hits that ball. I'll tell you that right now. I've done all the testing.
I got mine on velocity best fit.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's using the accelerated best fit. That's hard to play with.
Yeah, because it does even in lower settings. If I put that accelerated best fit on with a 9 setting, I can guarantee if I try to lag a ball up and down, I'm way off the line. I don't have the pace. So I did loads of testing on my mice to find the one that was as good as I can get. I still can't get it as good as I had it in VP3. I've tried. That's why I've tried umpteen mice.
You should be able to get it better. There's a lot more configurability in VP4.
Exactly, but I think it was the fact that it was an even older mouse that was used that eventually burnt out. Anyway, it's 2-0 to Zecarioca.
Let's see if Powerslam can win a game here.
Well,
this ball, you either got to go around the back or hit this with a little bit of left English.
He's got to have the legs though as well.
I mean right English. Yeah, he just way under hit that.
Stubbs arrived.
Oh boy.
I think having the voice, the text to voice in the chat actually encourages everybody to shut up, so you don't see as much typing.
You know what? I'm going to raise the mute time just for
Stubb.
Just for Stubb.
Yeah. For the duration of matches, so I would reckon about 2.5 hours should cover it.
Well, he's been shouting in the lobby a lot. He's about to start getting kicked for 24 hours because I've warned him about that. I've muted him a lot of times. Yeah, he was that kid in school that had to go to the principal's office and get a lot of swats before he figured out he shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
When somebody says don't do that, he just keeps doing it.
Yeah, because the other thing is that because the punishment isn't severe enough. You know, you've got to hit the mark somewhere along the line before it then eventually sinks in.
Yeah, well, nowadays with kids, good luck. They're not allowed to hit them in school. They're not allowed to do anything. I remember, I was in a really rough neighborhood, and like when I was in junior high, when you went to the principal's office and you got a SWAT, you came out crying. I mean, they had this walnut paddle and they would wail on you, and it was leaving marks. And so I moved into a nicer area of town. My dad got a better job when I moved, and I got in trouble like, I was apt to do. And I went to the principal's office and he pulls out this this paddle with holes in it, like a racquetball paddle with holes in it, wood with holes. And I'm thinking, oh boy, I'm really in trouble. So he hits me with this thing, and it was like a tap. And I was trying not to laugh because I didn't want to piss him off, but I was literally, biting my tongue and turning away because I was laughing. He hit me so easy. And that was the difference between being in the bad part of town and being in the good part of town.
See, I think in public schools and probably semi-pro can confirm this. Good evening to semi-pro, but I mean the form of punishment in Scotland was what they called the strap, which was it looked a bit, well, it was much narrower, but it looked a bit like something you would sharpen a shaving razor on. It looks like that, but it was about, how would I say it?
That's called a leather belt here.
Yeah, well, but they call it the belt, but we called it the strap. But it then split into two tongues at the end. So it was split, and it would
Semi-Prof 4.
You would get leathered over the hands.
Didn't Zecarioca say he was the best banker in VP4?
Yeah, well, I'm sure they don't do that anymore there either.
No, that's corporal punishment like that's been banned. Because we're in this politically correct society that everybody loves.
Oh no, that kind of stuff got banned even before everybody got.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It was,
Well, you're going to have a new king, semi-pro. Old Charlie's got there in the end. He hung around long enough.
Somebody, he might have said that.
Best at banks and kicks.
But just because you say it or just because you think it.
Well, that'll be a missed call.
I remember, I don't know if you guys realize this, but Mexicans play a lot of banks. It's just sort of, they play certain games in Mexico that you guys have probably never seen, but
did a video
they require a lot of banking. So, most of the Mexicans bank pretty good. So we had this Mexican guy at the pool room that thought he was good at banks. So in comes Tony Chohan, and they get in a game. This guy loses 3,000 to him in about an hour and a half, and basically tore his heart out. After that, he didn't even want to gamble. But he found out, what a guy that can really bank is like. He thought he was good.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the thing I was talking about the other day about, you've got to be around good players to get a measure of what really good is.
Well, that's exactly it. If you're hanging around the same haunt all the time and you're the best in that place and you think you're great, and then you come up against somebody who's playing at a totally different level to you, it suddenly opens your eyes.
Well, the funny thing is that, the States, this probably happens in the UK too, but in the States, this happens quite a bit because it's so big and there's so many countries and so many rural areas that these guys will come in the pool room and, I remember one time I'm in the pool room and these guys come in and they're probably their best players.
Oh, Steve,
or
comment yesterday about the 155
they're probably the best players
break.
in any town for
I sent the link
50
to you via
miles
Discord
from where
if
they
you are
live.
ever bored.
They come in the pool room
face.
and they walk up and they ask. They didn't know anybody, but they see guys hitting balls. They walk up and ask the best guy in the room to play. Ronnie Rosas, who's a champion, pro player, and they lost $500 in a half hour at 50 a game. They never won a game. The guy they had playing didn't win a game, and I was at that point probably the 10th best player in that room, and I would have drilled these guys. That neither one could beat me, and that's the kind of thing that happens is people think they're good because they don't know what good is because they haven't been around it. And it's the same sort of thing as what I was saying earlier about watching it. You can watch on TV. It's not the same when you're actually playing a guy in real life.
Yeah. I think those guys had sort of visions of colour of money and that sort of thing going through their head as well. getting on the road to go and hustle.
Semi-prof.
You know, I knew all those guys that played
Lord,
in the
even
Color of
LOL.
Money. They were all pool players except for Forrest Whitaker and Tom Cruise and Paul Newman were the only guys in that movie that weren't pool players, that were, actually on a pool table playing. All the rest of them were all real-life pool players.
I wasn't paying attention. I'm sure Power Slam doesn't have a break queue.
I don't think so. He's playing with a house
Oh,
cue,
he's playing the house queue as well. Well, he's he's really got himself.
Well, I mean, at this point, his problem is, he needs to learn how to pop balls on VP4 because the break queue is not going to make any difference in this match if he can't make a ball.
So Semi-Pro says he's posted the link on Discord for that 155. I think it was.
I thought he did the 155. But see, if I was you guys and I'm playing a lot of VP, especially if I want to play snooker, I'd be playing semi-pro as much as I could because that's how you're going to get an idea what good is, and that's how you're going to get an idea what's possible is by playing, somebody that really can play the game.
Yeah, well, that's why I avoid him. I've had my arse tanned.
Well, you know what? It's a mentality, It's like when I was in a pool room and I was trying to get better, I'd go play somebody and I win a little money, and I'm playing, $20 races and stuff. I didn't have any money when I was young. And if I won, $40, I would go play somebody that I wasn't supposed to beat. I would go, challenge myself. That's how you get better, is play better players.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
That was a good shot.
Let's
Peter
watch
Piper
the replay of that last shot.
If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers Cobra. Peter Piper picked? Semi-prof 4.
Oh dear.
LOL.
Oh dear. Well, here's
155 is a great achievement.
Power Slam with ball in hand. That I don't think he's got any cues.
I got a video of the first 147 ever done by Steve Davis on TV.
Well, the first one on British television.
Who farted in the room?
If we want to be pernickety, it wasn't the first one done, but it was the first one that was broadcast. Yeah,
right. That's what I mean.
The Ladder Classic. It was. He won the ladder car.
I've got that video.
Yeah, I remember watching that tournament. In fact, I remember sitting watching Cliff Thorburn getting his 147 at the World Championships in 1982. Was it 81 or 82 he got it? It was 1980 he won the title. I think it might have been 82 that he won it. And the interesting thing about that is
lack of match play.
He started with a fluke. He potted a red into the corner, and that's what he was trying to do, but it rolled along the back rail into the other corner, and that was him on a 147.
Yeah, well,
Brain fell out.
Snooker is a
Looking
slop
at Power
game,
Slam's country name and the flag
doesn't
in the
happen
graphics
a lot, but it happens once in a while.
Makes me think the USA has taken the opportunity to invade
But,
due to the Queen's
I
passing.
played Steve Davis, and he's an impressive player. His stroke was really impressive.
Well, that was the biggest sort of noticeable mechanical difference back in the early 80s when Steve Davis appeared. Mechanically, if you want to describe it that way, he was that's why they describe him as a robot and that type of thing, because the technical side of things and how he was delivering the cue, everything was rock solid, and people eventually worked out that the technique was good because he was more successful at potting balls.
You think after about 3 or 4 world championships?
Yeah, well, exactly.
That out?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And then, of course, as time goes on and things evolve, you see how his influence in the game took place because players like Stephen Hendry came into the game, Ronnie O'Sullivan came into the game, And they were working on that sort of technique and getting the stance right, getting the bridge right, getting the length of the cue arm right, and making sure that cue's going through straight. Plus, of course, it then moved into the other era. Steve Davis was taught by his father. Steve Davis read the books of not Fred Davis, Joe Davis, on the technique of break building, and that's how Steve Davis went about his career. But that all changed when O'Sullivan, Henry, and all these young players came along in the sort of 90s, and it started being a much more aggressive game. So everything evolves. But Steve Davis was the sort of major change to snooker when he got appeared.
The big change was the tablecloth.
Yeah. Well,
you used to have a lot bigger stroke to play snooker.
Yeah, it used to be thicker. Yeah.
When I played him, he shot a shot that's one of the most impressive shots I have ever seen. And because of how hard you had to hit the ball to get it to move. I mean, I was so impressed. That might be the best shot I've ever seen.
We won't see another
as far
player
as, you know,
like Ronnie.
Having to come with a big stroke. And, you know, I hadn't played really much snooker, and I was surprised how hard I had to hit the ball. I mean, I had to hit the ball harder on a snooker table than I did on a pool table. Now, this is with the, you know, the old nappy cloth, but yeah, he had a tremendous stroke. Well, these guys just keep missing balls.
Yeah, it's a story of the match earlier today as well.
I mean, he just missed the whole ball there and came up around behind it.
Now we
won't see another player like Ronnie. Well, I would disagree with that. I think there will be another player like Ronnie. It's just rare to have that kind of talent. I mean, he's. You could argue that he's the most talented pocket billiard player to ever play the game. You could argue that, including pool players, that he's the most talented. I'm not going to prescribe to that, but he certainly would be in my top 3 of talented players.
Well, I think the biggest difference with Ronnie O'Sullivan's, to me, between him and the other players is, and it's not just him exclusively. You can include John Higgins in that, and you can include Mark Williams, maybe to a slightly lesser extent. You know, even though he's won the world championship in the last 3 or 4 years. But if you look at Ronnie O'Sullivan, you know, all these guys are now in their mid-40s, and you know that the eyes begin to go. You know, everything begins to creep up on you, but they are still playing by far the best standard of snooker.
Simon Lacey,
compared to the
John
whole bunch
Higgins
of guys that are all chasing them
4.
in the rankings.
BTW,
well, I'll tell you one
the
reason
pack
why.
in snooker
It's
and
they
then
grew
making
up
a
playing
147 is a lot harder than you think. Having
thicker
balls spread
cloth.
around adds traffic and
to play on
challenges
that
of
thicker
getting the
cloth,
white
you have
back
to
to the
develop
black
a big
win.
stroke. And the younger guys, you know, I see this in pool, you know, the Filipinos who play in a lot of crappy conditions and high humidity, they develop a lot of
The reds are
stroke.
in bulk and middle of table.
You know, these players other places in the world, especially the Europeans, they don't do that because they're playing on, you know, Simonis, and it's slippery, and it's just, you just don't need a big stroke on it.
Right, I'm going to hang on a minute. We're back in a minute, guys. I've just tabbed out for a second.
Well, doing a 147, yeah, it's difficult anyway. Any way you do it. I mean, you know, you've got to be able to move the cue ball. Obviously, you have to be able to pop balls, but you've got to be able to move the cue ball to make 147s. And I've watched Semi-Pro play snooker, and he plays like a real snooker player. He plays just about everything off a stun.
Well, what's the score in this match? I'm losing track. 5-2 to Zecarioca.
Zecarioca's playing terrible and still winning easily.
Yeah. Let's have a look at this bracket. Who's next in line here? Fast Eddie is lying in wait for the winner of this match. Now, Fast Eddie should be too strong for either of these two guys. That's how I see it. So that's who the winner of this match is going to play, Fast Eddie.
Yeah, well, like with any pool tournament, the draw is huge. If you can get an easy draw and not have to play one of the monsters up front, then, that really helps. The problem with playing a really good player early is you're going to have to play a really good player again before too long if you happen to beat them. Whereas if you get a soft draw, you might not play a really good player until, the semifinal or the final of the bracket. It's possible things can really go your way.
Yeah, there's plenty of mistakes.
Now we could seed the bracket, but I've kind of avoided doing that. We have two kinds of seeding that we can do in tournaments. One is a full-blown seed. So that means if there's 32 players, number 1 plays 32, number 2 plays 31, and so on. So it's a true seeded field. The other way we can seed them is we can do what I call a half field seed, where what we do is we take the top half of the field, like the top 16 players, and then put them in a bracket so that they're going to play 16 players out of the bottom half of the field, but the 16 players that they're playing are going to be randomly drawn. So it's kind of a half seed. You're guaranteed if you're in the top 16, you won't play anybody else in the top 16 in the first round. But you don't know which of the bottom 16 you're going to get. And we've never done that. The capabilities in the software, it might be kind of fun to do it. I think it's a little bit better for the lower ranked players to, have a random draw where, they're not going to have to play some monster right off the bat.
Well, 6-2 now to Zecarioca, so it's a long haul back already for Powerslam.
Well, from everything we've seen, Powerslam doesn't have the game to win this match. I mean, Zecarioca has just played very sloppily, and
yeah, he's playing sloppily because he knows he's worked out now that he doesn't need to be playing at that high a level to get through this. He's going to get plenty of chances.
Well, I've seen him play, and he definitely can play better than he's playing.
Oh, here's a question: Are you intending to play every week in these VP4 9-ball league semi, or are you going to rotate? If you're still there.
Yeah, I don't know about that semi-pro. I mean, snooker's a different animal. You have to learn to play off a stun if you're going to get 147s. And, I don't know how well Cobra does that. Obviously, you could learn it, but it's a lot different than playing pool. I'll tell you who was a good snooker player was Perica. Jose Perica.
So you were talking about Alex Pagulayan a while back as well. He won a Canadian championship or whatever it was.
Pagulayan's a good snooker player, and Canada's got some pretty good players. Now, Pagulayan's another one of those guys I'd probably put in the top 3 of most talented players. And I guess the other guy's got to be Efren. So you got Efren, Pagulayan, and Ronnie O'Sullivan. But Cobra says he's shit at snooker. Well, I mean, you could probably be good at it, but it's going to take a lot of practice. Perica came in second in a big tournament in Asia. He beat James Watanabe.
No, James Watana, you mean? Yeah.
Watana.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always get that name wrong.
Yeah, he's well past his best, though. He was well past his best 10 years ago, James Watana.
Yeah. But for a pool player to come in, I mean, Parika's probably one of the all-time. Well, Pagaline's good for Canada. The thing is, I'll tell you why no pool player has made it on the pro tour over there playing snooker, because they're not willing to invest the time to do it. I know Corey Deuel tried, Pagaline tried. The problem is that you've got to go through all this qualifying and stuff to get on the tour, and it's really difficult. And snooker is a different animal, and pool mechanics and snooker don't mix that well.
There's a whole there's a whole discipline about the snooker break, and it's geared on everything working in unison.
Well, pool players aren't used to playing off a stun, so if you took a guy like Josh Filler who likes to play off a stun, and you said, okay, you're going to play snooker, he would instantly be a pretty good snooker player, but he wouldn't instantly be good enough to get on the pro tour. It would take a tremendous amount of work, even though he's a great shot maker.
See, Cliff Thorburn was originally a pool player in Canada, but he adapted to snooker pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, it can be done, but the reason why the U.S. guys aren't doing it, some of them tried, but their idea is, I'm going to go over and I'm going to qualify, and and it's just not that easy. I mean, you're probably going to have to spend 2 or 3 years, and maybe have to change your stroke, and I mean, it's just not something that you can just go over and do. Now, going the other way from snooker to pool is a lot easier. Not that any snooker player has been tremendously successful at pool, but if they wanted to be, I think it's an easier change than going from pool to snooker.
Well, the misses are coming thick and fast. But Powerslam just needs to spend the time. He just needs the time. And whether, again, he's in the same boat where he doesn't get that time, and he's new to the game. I don't know how long he's been around, but he's got a way to go. But the first thing he needs to do is get himself a break cue and get himself a playing cue. He needs to invest a bit here. That's who he wants to take it. Now, if he has renewed his account, so he's invested that amount of money.
Yeah, I'm aware of the women. I'm aware of the women that have been successful. Karen Cora being the best one of the bunch.
Right, you see, those two made the best move for them for financially and for their careers, because they were never going to make it on the men's pro tour over here. They tried it, but they're just not good enough. And they did the right move for both of them, and they're earning a healthy living, albeit not as much as they would be if they were good at snooker.
The level of play is so much different between men and women. I remember, when Allison Fisher was winning everything on the women's tour here, and just she was like the catch meow and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Roger Griffiths gives her the 7 out and the break for $10,000 a set, and beats her out of $20,000. So if you think about that, if you're giving a player like Allison Fisher the 7 and out and the breaks, now granted, if that was going on, I would have been betting on Allison, because I think that she's the favorite in that match with that spot. But just to get that spot tells you, and you guys probably don't even know who Roger Griffiths is. He's, he wasn't like a top player. He's definitely a champion. He's definitely real good. But, it's not like she was playing a Shane Van Bonian or something like that. And she just got smoked. So it shows you the difference in level.
And again, to me, that's inexplainable. I've said this before. I don't know why. I mean, they'll talk about physical differences in various other sports, and I can't see any reason why. You don't have women playing at the same level in any cue sport. and mixing and matching with the guys. It's inexplainable. You know that okay, you know they're not as tall, but that's the only thing I can think that's different. And on average, they're not as tall as men. But what does that make? That's why you've got the rest and these sort of things. But physically, there's another poor one. Physically, there's no reason why they should not be as good. I'd love to see it though. I'd love to see women
I would
really in the
disagree with
mix.
that.
No, I can't work it. I can't. You need to explain it to me then.
Well, everybody assumes that the difference between men and women is just strength, and there's more differences than that. Now, there's some skill sets that women have that are as good or better than men, but you know, it's like spatial things, maybe some of the touchy-feely. It's like golf, you know. Yeah, there's a big difference how far they hit it or stuff, but probably the biggest difference between men and women short games is like chipping around the green and things. The men are a lot better than the women in 20 yards and in.
But why?
And there's no reason for it other than
That's what I'm saying. Why? Why is it?
Some of it's spatial. It's well known that men have better spatial abilities than women, and you can't get much more of a spatial game than pool or snooker.
So they're all spatially challenged. Then that's a politically correct way of saying it.
Women don't do those things as well, and people get all pissed off if you say that. But there's been a lot of studies on it, and I think there's probably some difference in touchy-feely things too.
Is LS3 there? I hope she's not. I hope Sylvia's not there because this will end up in a fight.
They can get pissed off, but it's like I love seeing women compete with men, but the only place I've ever seen them compete that they could really do it was drag racing, and that's a reaction time thing, and being able to drive a car down a track in a straight line, which is a lot harder to do than you would think, and the women are winning world championships, so it's obvious that at least in that arena, they've got a skill set that is compatible.
Well, I mean, I don't want to be too picky, but basically all you're doing is driving in a straight line, aren't you? And sitting with a rocket up your backside for 10
put
seconds.
11,000 horsepower in a car and try to drive in a straight line, and guess what? It doesn't want to go straight.
By the way, Steve, have you looked online at that new drag racing game that's been released? It was released a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, there's a drag racing game out.
That could be a lot of fun if they do it right.
There's a few reviews and videos on YouTube for it. I can't remember what it's called. It's NR something or other. It's an officially backed drag racing
NHRA.
Game. Yeah, that's it. That's what it's called.
Well, you'd have to have a monster sound system and turn it up to full blast to get the effect.
Yeah. Well, the excitement was over for me when I saw what a race was. Warm the tyres up. Hit the button when the lights go this colour, then boom, there it goes, and then blink, it's over. And that's your excitement for the day.
I mean, a top fuel dragster runs like, 350, 360s. So, that's 3.6 seconds.
Yeah.
I think the record, I don't think the record's into the 350s yet. I think the record's like 360 something. And then funny cars, I think the record's like, I'm not sure what the funny car record is. It's maybe a couple tenths higher.
Yeah, Cheeky Chico, it's not racing and drag, much as you'd want it to be. Your interpretation is completely on a different tangent. Racing and drag. Well, and it's all bearded gentlemen. They've all got their little pinafore dresses on.
He's Scottish. He could be racing in his kilt. That's getting close.
Well, he wouldn't. Yeah, when you think about it, if he had a kilt on, he wouldn't need the need for a parachute in the back of the vehicle. He'd have his own built-in parachute. Right. Well, I think we know where this match is going. We're now 10-2 to Zecarioca. Time will just take its course, and he'll get over the finishing line at some point. So while this is going on, I'm going to do a quick reminder again. I'm going to do this. Hang on a minute. That's not it. That's the wrong button again. That's not it as well.
This
It's
is
that one.
VP4 TV.
Hairpig, what you said
Here
is
is a list of
true,
scheduled
but
upcoming matches in this year's
you still should
VP4
have more women that
2022
can
World
really
10 Ball
play at a
Championship.
very high
I
level,
will
and you
try and
don't.
stream as many
I
as I
remember
possibly
Jeanette Lee
can,
tried to tell me
although
this
time zone
bullshit, or
differences
she
will
says,
be
well,
an issue.
she goes,
I must
the
thank
difference
those
is the
players who
break, she
take
goes,
this
because
into
I don't have the strength.
consideration
She
when
says, if I could
arranging
have a
their
guy break
matches.
for me, she
Please
goes, I could play
subscribe
with
to my
anybody.
YouTube and Twitch
And
channel.
I said, you can't even beat your husband like that. I said, you can get anybody you want to break, and you play your husband, and you got no chance. And the response was silence, because she was trying to bullshit me. I don't know if you know who her husband is, but it's George Breedlove, and he was a really good player, very talented, champion. I mean, she couldn't even beat her husband if she had somebody else break for her. And she was a fine player. Let me tell you what, she had her high run and straight pull was something like a 230 or something like that. I mean, she could play.
Well, 6 ball and 9 ball. And possible to get an angle in the board to bump this couple of balls. Or possible to leave it and try and create a combo.
Well, I think he tried to do that, and I think he's got the combo here.
Has he got enough room?
Enough of the 6. Yeah, I believe he does. You can always play a rail first if you want.
Yeah, he's got it.
But she didn't have to. Oh, by the way, Hairpig, the 2 shots, I couldn't remember one of them. I only shot the 3-railer, and yeah, that 3-railer would work. I couldn't remember what the other shot was, which really irritated me, but, that's where my brain's at now.
What's Semi-Pro saying? 3 things. Any update on increasing the straight to 715? Also introduce Chinese 8-ball and killer. Well, there's enough to be going on with.
Okay. Well, I can answer all 3 of those. As far as going to 715, I think we'll probably go to 1,000. 715 is a funny number. Yeah, hang on a sec.
Yeah, but remember as well, the next time we do the Straight Pool World Championship, we should be back on the normal pockets rather than the narrow pockets. Because any of the world record breaking runs in straight pool have not been done on what you describe as tight pockets, in which case the last world championship in straight pool was. So if anybody gets to talking to Powerslam, it depends on obviously how long he intends on hanging around, whether this is just going to be a short period of time, and then if he's not finding he's improving, maybe the best advice to give him is to at least get himself a decent playing queue, and if he sticks to the rotation games, like 9-ball and 10-ball, he needs a break queue. But then the hard work starts.
Hairpig told me what the other shot is. Yeah, I'll play that. Yeah, I'll test that one too. Even though I know that that ain't going to be the case, but I'll test that one too. But yeah, the 3-railer went easy. And one thing about that 3-railer, I played around with it some, and I moved the cue ball around some. And, if you guys want to get good at kicking, you've got to understand how the ball moves around the rails. And what I mean by that is that, the English affects the ball a lot. And even if you hit a ball without English, the first rail it hit, it's going to pick up English. So there's always English on the ball after the first rail, even if you don't start with it. So
Good
if
cut.
you've got a shallow angle into a rail, then the English doesn't affect the angle much, but when it gets to the next rail, you're going in pretty steep and it affects it a lot. So on that 3-railer we're talking about, where you're if you're going in more shallow, then you can open it up big time on the second rail, which gets you the angle to get, off the third rail of the pocket. If you're going in steeper, then the English can actually make you come up long instead of shortening it if you're going in steeper in the first rail. So you kind of got to understand, how you're going into the rail. And I didn't learn this by, mathematics or whatever. I just learned this by playing a lot. That's what most people do. But I'll shoot that one later, hair pick. All right, Semi. So 1,000-point straight pull, that's easy. When I put in the 3-hour mute for stub, I'll do that. I'm making a list right now. Chinese 8-ball is hard, and I'm probably not going to do that. I think it would be a great game. I think there's 2 games that are played around the world that would be great. One is Chinese 8-ball, and the other one is Pyramid. I don't know if you guys have ever watched anybody play Pyramid, but that's a pretty cool game. Because it's hard, because I have to make a new table, and that's a tremendous amount of work. And then the last one, Killer. Well, Killer's been on the list for a long time, and I probably will do it. I'm not sure when, but I think there's enough people that want Killer that it's worth doing. I mean, the leagues thing was a major thing. You guys have no idea how long it took to do pool leagues.
So Zecarioca moves on to 13.
Yeah, this is pretty much a wipeout here.
Yeah, but as I say, it's the true test for Zecarioca is when he gets his next match. He should be well aware of that.
Yeah.
Fast Eddie's plenty experience.
I just hope Powerslam takes us the right way, because there are 2 kinds of things that happen when people get the crap kicked out of them, or they take tough losses. One is that they go and hide and they just don't want to do it again, and it's like. Another is they get motivated and they work on their game, because negative reinforcement's always better than positive. I don't care what they say nowadays. If you want to get better, you need to be motivated, and there's nothing that motivates you more than losing.
It's up to each individual how much they want to try and learn about the game. Learn how English can work, how to move the cue ball.
Well, that's the whole purpose
of
the
investment.
The videos with Steve Daking on the offline is you can learn a lot of stuff if you watch those videos and shoot the shots on them, and
I did them all.
That's actually a fairly good training course for pool, for real life also. Does it include everything there is to know? No, it doesn't. But
No.
it's a fairly complete overview of beginning, intermediate, and maybe a little bit of advanced things for play.
And for a lot of these players, if they did watch something like that, and get to practice the shot that's been played on the video, they would absorb information from it.
Well, if you really want to get better, you should have offline, because there's a lot of things in there to help you. And then, everybody's not going to be so excited about this suggestion, but, drills are a great way to improve your game. The problem with them is that, they can be frustrating, they can be boring. There's a lot of things about drills that people don't like. But the Germans, and you can ask Sylvia about this. I've talked to her about it before. The Germans do tremendous amount of drills. That's their whole, training method is they do a lot of drills. And some of those German players got very good doing that, because you got to remember, most of the Germans don't gamble. And I thought, man, it'd be impossible to play that level of pool without gambling. But the Germans figured out how to do that by doing drills. But they'll do drills like 6 hours straight. I mean, it's crazy. But there are some drills in VP. You can set up some other ones. And I don't know if you snooker players realize this, but I put a mode in where you can turn the game engine on for drills. And it was most specifically was for snooker. So let's say you set up, there's some snooker drills where you have a line of reds and you pot a red, make a color, pot a red, make a color. Well, for that to work, you have to be able to spot the colors. So you can actually set up a drill in trick setup shot mode, and then if you load it with this one special thing checked on the load menu, then you'll get that turned on, and you can do your snooker drills.
I've never seen anything like that.
Oh yeah, it's been in there for quite a while. Well, Fedor Gorst was a very good player at 16. I mean, the difference in his play now is really just sort of a maturity thing. I mean, he could really play when he was 16 years old.
I think this is going to finish on top of the 8 ball. Yep.
Well, it wasn't a bad attempt. That wasn't a bad play. I was going to shoot the bank. He probably will. I mean, Zecarioca is going full all out here.
Yeah, it's a good odds bet, this 8 ball.
No, he's kicking at this one. He went rail first and just needed to be a touch longer on that kick. That's kind of a common thing with those shots. I mean, is people tend to not hit far enough away from the object ball. Watch out.
Oh, yep. Oh, you know,
I think we're going to see another kick shot.
Yeah.
Gloria, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Hasn't the VP lobby always been black? I guess there's some color scheme options, isn't there?
Nice work, Steve, on making the VP lobby black after the news. Oh, LS3's talking about the Queen dying this afternoon. We're in mourning. Well, this is going to be painful for Powerslam, but he'll get over it.
There is an option for the color theme to be black or charcoal. We don't have a white one. Can we have more balls? That's probably not going to happen because it's not that easy to do, even though it sounds like it should be. It's not, and very few people would probably use that.
What I do remember is, you know how you were talking about it takes a while to get a table done. I seem to remember the call going out for a 10-foot table in VP4, and then sort of next week we had a 10-foot table. The 10-footer appeared rather quickly in VP4 when it was asked for.
But the 10-footer, all the geometry is the same other than the size of it. Well, with a Chinese table, you've got to make all the pockets and.
Yeah, you've got to make it like a snooker table. So we've got a mess of balls here. How's this 5 and 10 sitting? Well, they're not sitting. Well, that would need a bit of encouragement to go in off the jaw, that 10 ball. but he doesn't need to. The 5 ball goes in the other side, and the 6 ball goes past the 8.
Yeah, Darren Appleton's got some pretty good drills.
Yeah, he's got videos on YouTube. I watched one of them a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, there's a lot of drills. I mean, I've seen a lot of drills. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of, the Germans, all those drills they have, there's not a lot of them that they post online. I think they're of the mind that we're not going to tell anybody anything, which is how the U.S. players used to be. I think they share more. Fedor Gorst had a Facebook site called Billiard Boys, him and a couple of other Russians. I think they all lived together like in kind of a dorm room, and they put a lot of drills up, and they had some pretty good ones on there too.
So it's going to be a 6-10 combo into the side for Zecarioca.
Yeah, it'd be fun to do the Efren thing. I used to watch Efren. He'd put 2 racks on the table, and so he'd throw 30 balls out there, and then he'd go 1-1, 2-2, 3-3, 4-4, and run out. And if you don't know how hard that is, just take my word for it. It's really hard.
Well, it's hard to see the cloth for the balls on the table for a start.
And watching him do it, it's amazing. It really is. I mean, if you didn't realize how good he was, you will after you see him do that.
So Powerslam, well past last chance saloon time. This is 7 out of 8 nails in the coffin.
Oh, yeah, I mean he was overmatched in this, but hopefully he takes this well and works on his game, gets a break cue and a playing cue, and I mean he's obviously got some skills, but I don't think he's used to the visual yet.
Yeah, and again, I keep ranting on about this as well. If anybody's ever new to VP4, you've got to be tweaking, testing your zoom settings, spending a lot of time testing your mouse, tweaking the sensitivity, going through all those settings, and I always test a mouse by simply lagging on a 9-foot table. And once I get the lag nailed to within, 2 inches of the bottom cushion, then I know I've got it set to a pretty good level and I'm happy with it. So however you do it, you've got to spend time. And don't just play with it as the game sets it, because that generally never works.
I'll tell you another good one, Semi, is rack 15 balls, break them, and make all the balls in one pocket. It's a 1-pocket drill, and it's not that easy to do. I've never done on VP, of course. I've done in real life, but it's a pretty challenging drill. There's actually a drill of me, real life, posted on the VP4 site. It was a Max Eberly. Max Eberly is a friend of mine. He had some contest about, he came up with this thing, and he said the first 3 people that do this get a free year on he's got a paid site for teaching, which, if I asked him, he would have gave me one anyways, but it was just sort of like, oh, this is a challenge. So I actually posted the video because I had to do a video to send to him to prove that I did it. So I posted the video on the VP4 Facebook page. So you can go look at that. And it would be a good drill to actually set up and do in VP. It's not ridiculously difficult, but it's not a gimme either.
Well, Powerslam has just played his last shot. Zecarioca with a cut into the side. He's letting it running around and out, and this will
you guys haven't you haven't done drills because you're not German.
So Zecarioca is through, comfortable win. Powerslam will move across the one loss side, so he's got maybe a day or two to get some practice in.
That might be the quickest match we've had.
Yeah, how long was that? About an hour and 15? An hour and 10 minutes. Yeah. Right, so that's another match off the scheduled list. We're down to 5, and the next one is tomorrow morning. I won't be there, I'll be at work. It's at 9:50.
Sylvia is there.
And Mr. Fox and Mooncake on Saturday night. And then Mal and Bedhead on Sunday at 6 p.m, which is 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And what's that? 10 a.m. Pacific. And then the other matches are into next week. So I'll hopefully get most of those done. But certainly not the Sharky one. Well, that's about it, folks, unless Steve has anything else to say or anybody has anything else to ask.
Not unless these guys have more questions or they want to talk about drills or whatever. I mean, we got Sylvia here, so she's like the drill master. She could teach you guys lots of drills, and I'm sure she probably knows a few dozen of them.
What's that one saying there? Drills are amazing because they help with many things. Can try routines you're not good at. They help with position, ball control, etc.
Well, I think they help a lot with consistency because, they've helped me because I would say that in my pool game, my biggest issue is consistency. I think being consistent is the hardest thing.
Mm-hmm.
You get to a certain level where you've got a high gear, but, then it's a matter of being able to play consistently, and I think drills will really help you with that. Yeah, I don't do them in VP either, but I do them in real life still. And my table's tough to do drills on because it's 4-inch pockets, so it makes it a lot harder.
Let me try this, see if I can find this thing, because I never noticed that. Let me try. What am I doing typing that for? See if this will work.
Well, Sylvia, you may not realize this, but I put a pretty nice goodie in a while back that allows you to...
Oh, I've got to log in. I forgot about that.
It allows you to turn on the game engine on loaded trick shots.
That's what it was going to do.
There's something that's called practice mode. When you get to the load game dialog, if you bring it in practice mode, it turns the game engine on.
Let's see if this will work. Right, you can tell me what to do here, Steve. Right, so I've got the offline up and running. So what do I do next?
Okay, so if you do a load game.
Yeah. I've got something that's saved as Bob. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, if you've got a snooker thing especially, because that was the initial reason I put it in, because people wanted to be able to do drills where they made a red and then a color, and the color would spot. See that thing that says practice mode over there on the right? The checkbox?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, you don't have any saved...
I don't know what this file is. Let's have a look.
Yeah, that's a game file. It needs to be a trick shot file.
Ah, right.
But that practice mode will turn the game engine on. So now you're playing with game rules.
This shows you how often I play offline. I don't even know where trick shot mode is in the offline mode.
So what you would do to set something up is you would, when you go into trick shot mode, you'd select the game you want, and then you would set up the drill and get the initial ball positions, shoot the initial first shot, and then do an undo, and then save it. And then when you go back in and you load it, if you put that practice mode on, it'll load and have the game engine turned on where you'll play it with rules.
Well, where's the trick shot mode in this menu, though?
Play mode on the left, upper left. Play mode.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So
practice by myself. Trick shot setup.
Yeah. Go to trick shot setup. Set the game to snooker.
Snooker. Default table. It says
custom table. You probably want to set it to tournament table.
Why is it set to that?
Just because you're never in this and things have changed. The defaults are different now. So just no, don't go in there. Just go back.
Oh
no, don't do that. Don't just
cancel.
Just say okay.
Aye, okay. Right.
And then when you get back to the other menu, use the you can do cancel, whatever. Doesn't matter. Okay, you've got tournament table, so it did reset it to that. But you could have just done that from this menu. All right, now start it up, and what are you doing?
I'm back in. Right. It's on straight pool. Hang on. Oh no, I'm back at the. I'm not in the trick shot mode. I forgot how you get to it again.
You just got it all set up and then you canceled it. Pick snooker. Select. Go to the game and select snooker.
Snooker.
And then go up to the play mode and set it to trick setup shot.
That's what I did wrong again. Yeah. Trick shot setup, snooker default table, custom table,
and then go down to the table setup and click the button on the left. The button on the left, the blue button.
Tournament table.
Yeah.
Right, done that.
Okay, and then say okay.
Okay. Oh, I'm in a blue cloth. Hang on. I don't like that.
Don't cancel it. Just leave. You can
right. Well, how do you get rid of these
later?
How do you get rid of these tracking line things?
T will turn it off.
Right. Let's get rid of that. Now what do I do?
Well, you get rid of the balls you don't want, and you start moving balls around. You set up the drill that you want. You have to put the balls in a position you want.
Yeah, so how do you grab a ball?
M key puts you in a move ball mode. H key moves the hand to another ball.
Right. Hang on. Now, do you have to hold M and H? Oh, wait a minute. Why is it keeping jumping back? Have I got to hold the H?
Well, it's going to jump back to the nearest ball when you release it. It's going to grab the ball that the hand is closest to.
Right. I'm not moving anything, though. This shows you I've never done this.
Well, you have to press M again then.
Right, M.
M moves the ball, H moves the hand.
Right.
Press M and move the ball. If you're grabbing one in the middle of the rack, yeah, it may be hard to move because other balls are in the way. If you want to go through balls, you have to turn amplify on, and then you can go through balls.
Wait a minute. Let's go to this corner ball here. Right, that's
and a lot of you guys may not realize this, but in an online game, it's like that. Let's say you're playing somebody online, and you get ball in hand, and the cue ball is trapped by other balls. You can, with ball in hand, you can move through other balls by hitting amplify.
Right, I give up. I haven't a clue what I'm doing here. Every time I hit the M button, I seem to go around and above the top of the pack with that funny thing.
You can turn more overhead so you can see what you're over, because it's just going to grab the nearest ball.
Right, M.
Is that hard to understand?
Right, I see that ball's moving, but it's stuck behind the pink now, so I have to put H to move it to that ball, and then hit M. Right, let me see. There, I've got it now.
It's an optical delusion, Sylvia.
Right, so then you would. Now, what do I do to drop the ball?
You just released the M.
Right, I've released the M. Now
Okay.
I'm stuck there, so I need to go.
Now you press H and move the hand again.
Right, so now I've moved it to there. And now I do M. I've got another one now. Now I know what I'm doing. So then you would line the traditional snooker.
So I hope you're not planning on moving all 15 of these before you show people how this works.
Yeah, well anyway, that's 2 of them put there, so I'll leave it at that. Now what do I do?
Okay. So put the cue ball where you want it for the drill to start.
Right, hang on. All wrong. Wait a minute, I've moved. I've moved the red.
H key.
H again, right? Yep. And I've got the cue ball and then M. Right, and I'm now in the D in vault.
Yeah, put the cue ball where you want it.
Right, I've done that, and now I should be able to shoot.
Why are you going to put it in Bach? Which drill? What kind of drill would start with this? Just put it where you can shoot one of those in the side pocket and then shoot the color. Right. Just stick it over there where you can shoot one of those reds in the side pocket.
Right, I've done that.
Okay.
Right.
And go ahead and shoot the shot.
Right.
Shoot the shot, and then...
This is a house cue, Steve. I'm no use for these. Right.
And then... It doesn't matter whether you shoot this right. We're just establishing an initial position.
Yep.
Do an undo.
Do an undo. How do I do that?
U key.
U. Right. Done that. Right.
Okay. Now save the shot.
Right. So now we go to load save game. Save game. Where do I... Right. Not save shot. So it's save game.
Yeah.
Right. Save game. And we'll save that again as Bob. Right, so
what does Bob mean?
I don't know. I just save it as Bob. It's just short and sweet, and I don't have to move my fingers too far on the keyboard. Right, carry on. What do I do next?
So you can be confused when you go to load it. All right, so do a quit. Get out of there.
Right, quit match. Yes. Trick set up. Right, so now I'm on the menu.
Cancel out of that.
Right, done that.
Go back to the main menu.
Right. Quick play again.
Do a load game.
Right, load game. And sort by date. So the one at the top should be the one that I've just saved, Steve. Is that correct?
Well, this is why you didn't want to name it Bob again. It's VP4 because VP4 is the practice ones.
Right.
But you have to turn on practice mode first.
Right. So that one there. Right, that's checked. I've clicked the green. I've clicked the thing and it's now green at the top. So I just say load.
Yeah, now you can just load it. Or you can double click it, it'll load.
Right, we'll get these tracking lines on again. Right, so now we've created our own trick shot. That's what we're saying. Our own drill.
Now shoot this and draw it back and then make the 5.
It's the blue, Steve, not the 5.
This is showing that the game engine's running because it'll spot the color.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's a bit too straight.
We don't really care how many balls you run there. This is just trying to show you how it works.
Oh, I'm making sure to pot them. Right.
Okay.
And we've got the points value as well.
So now it should spot the blue.
Yeah,
because the game engine's on, so it's spotting the blue for you. So now you can do a drill with the colors and the reds, and it'll spot the colors for you.
Yeah, see, there's the first mistake. So I hit undo, and I can do that again. Or hit the U button and I can do it again. Can I get down here?
Yeah, well, that's one of the great things about this mode is you can just do an undo if you want to shoot the shot over.
Yeah. So now I'm on the black, and I've not got a great angle, I think, to get into them. Let's see if we can juice it up. I'll put the amp on. This is where I'll fail.
I don't remember who convinced me to do this. It might have been Semi-Pro. Somebody convinced me to put this mode in.
Right, I'm going to undo that. Now, see if you undo that shot, you can't hit undo and undo back to the previous shot, can't you not? No, you can't.
No, it won't let you do that.
Well, anyway, that's the first time. You can tell that's the first time I've ever done that, because I've never been into the trick shot mode in the certainly this practice mode.
That's something you can do. Now, not all drills require you to turn on that practice mode. I mean, you don't need the game engine for a lot of drills. It just sort of depends what you're trying to do.
Right, you've got a designate ball on. So that's like, here's a D.
Well, see, the game engine's on now, so it's just like you're playing. You know, you have to, but it's got auto select just like
the normal game. Yeah, I see that. Yeah. That's good to know. Show table settings, that's the same thing. I'm just looking to see what the menus do, because I've never really looked at them. Kiblit shot. What's the
kibitz? You can ask the computer opponent what the opponent would do.
Right, now, how do you get out of that view from top down? Do you just hit S? Right, I do.
Just hit A. Hit A, you're back to aim.
Yeah, I didn't catch the pack.
Answer my other query. What other query?
Yeah, I think I'm boring people here. I'm getting out of here.
I don't know what other query you're talking about at Semi. All right. Well, if anybody is so inclined to practice, there's a bunch of stuff on here that'll help you do that.
Yeah, and you can watch that bit of the video and see how I messed around to get in there. If Steve wasn't there, I would never have been in it.
Do we have to watch that video again? That was painful.
Right, I'm off for a coffee. Thanks to Steve, unexpectedly joining us tonight. Well done to Zecarioca. He's going to have to step his game up next round. Stick with the practice in Power Slam and get yourself a break queue and a jump queue. Not a break queue, but a break queue and a playing queue. Just put them on the forum.
Can you save them on the forum? I don't know if it'll allow you to do that or not.
Saving routines to website or other.
If it doesn't, I can probably set the forum up to do that. You know what you can do is just use something like Dropbox. You can put links on the forum to it. You're probably going to have to use some sort of file, one of the free online file managers. Google, Dropbox, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're just wanting a place to upload them and stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah, and then you can put the links in the forum there's still a forum.
Yeah, nobody uses it, but there's still a forum.
I think it's mostly used by new players. New players come in here, they can peruse it, or if they have problems. But yeah, it's not very active, but there's a lot of information on it.
Yeah, yes, there is a forum. Sylvia knows there's a forum. Sylvia runs the German section of the forum. That shows you how long ago. I mean, it's still there. The German language part of the forum's still there. Right, well, thanks all for watching. I'm bailing out because I've got work tomorrow. I'm back to work, so I've got to think about getting to bed soon enough. And I'll be back tomorrow night for Friday night 9-ball. All things going according to plan. And also be covering those matches over the weekend, in particular the match between Mal and it's Bedhead, isn't it? Yeah, so that's a big one to look forward to, among others. So I'll bid you good night, and good night to Steve. And we'll see you again soon. Take care, guys. See you later.
Good night, ladies.